Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about the major rivers of India, which are divided into two categories. The first is the Himalayan rivers and the second system is of the Peninsula region of India. If you compare the Himalayan river system and the Peninsula river system, the Himalayan rivers are basically perennial in nature. They are snow fed as well as they also acquire water from rainfall and they are flowing throughout the year. That is why they are called as perennial. And the river basins are larger in size as compared to the Peninsula region. The Peninsula river system are non-perennial in nature. They are mostly filled with water during the rainy season and dry up during the summer and dry season. They originate mostly from lakes and watersheds instead of snow-fed glaciers. The first river basin that we will be talking about is the Indus River Basin, which is drained by river Indus and its five tributaries. So in the map you can also see that there are five tributaries of river Indus: Chenab, Jhelum, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. And the river Indus has its own source in the Kailash. The river Jhelum flows through the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Most of river Indus basin lies in Pakistan. The river Indus forms a delta in Pakistan and empties into the Arabian Sea. Most of the water of Indus is also utilized by Pakistan. It is this region that ancient Indus Valley civilization once flourished. The religion that was followed in those times were polytheistic. That means that they followed Hinduism, Buddhism, as well as Jainism, which can be found along the seals of Indus Valley civilization that has been excavated. The tributaries of Indus River arises from the glaciers of Karakoram Range, Zanskar Range, and Ladakh ranges of the Himalayas. The northwest extent of Indus River is 960 km before it enters the plain region. As the river Indus enters the plain, it enters the Punjab plains, which are formed by the deposition of alluvial soil of the five main rivers or the tributaries of river Indus. That is why Punjab is also called as a land of five rivers and is extremely fertile. The total length of Indus River is around 2,700 kilometers and the breadth varies from 1800 to several times more at the times when it is flooding. When the river Indus enters the Thar Desert, most of the water is lost and it becomes brackish in nature. Brackish means it becomes salty. Okay, and most of the wasteland is usually flooded with brackish or salty water of the Thar Desert. Now let's talk about the Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Ganga and Brahmaputra are the major rivers of India and they form a very important basin which is filled with alluvial soil which is brought down by these rivers, which is called as Indo-Gangetic plains of India, which is extremely fertile for agriculture. The river Ganga originates from the ice cave of Gomukh, which means a cow's mouth, which is in the Himalayas, and it is the source of river Ganga. The river Ganga originates from Gangotri Glacier at Gomukh and is known as Alaknanda. But when it connects and joins with Bhagirathi River at Dev Prayag, which is the confluence of the two rivers, it forms river Ganga. So the river Ganga originates at a great height from the greater Himalayas, which is around 6,000 meters above the sea level. The Ganga basin constitutes around 25% of the total area of India. It is the longest river of India and is joined by several tributaries. One of the most important tributaries of Ganga is Yamuna, which is also called as Jamuna. It is a holy river and joins the main river of Ganga at the right bank of Allahabad, which is Prayagraj. The confluence of the three rivers, Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati, is at Prayagraj, which is called as Sangam. Agra is also an important city which is situated along the banks of river Yamuna. Chambal and Betwa are the tributaries of Yamuna river, and Son and Damodar are tributaries of Ganga, which rises at the edge of the Peninsula plateau. Gomti, Ghagra, Gandak, and Kosi are also important tributaries of river Ganga from the left bank, and all these tributaries arise from the slopes of the Himalayas. River Damodar, which is a tributary of river Ganga, is actually called as the sorrow of Bengal because it frequently floods every year when the rainy season comes, and it causes widespread damage to the lives, property, as well as cattle and agricultural fields. River Saraswati. It is a very holy river and it is also a disappearing river, celebrated both as a river as well as a hymn in the Vedas. Now, Saraswati is an important tributary of river Indus, but it is disappearing on the sands of the Thar desert. It is believed that Saraswati river is an underground flowing river and it joins river Ganga and Yamuna at the confluence of Prayagraj in Allahabad, which is also called as Triveni Sangam. Now let's talk about the Brahmaputra river, which also rises at Mansarovar Glacier in Tibet. The river is around 2,700 kilometers in length. It arises at a height of 3,600 meters. In China, it is known as Sangpo. Now, Brahmaputra flows towards India as it flows southwards from China. In China, it is a very fast flowing river, but as it enters into India, it becomes wider and broadens as there is a lot of water which enters into the Brahmaputra river through its tributaries. As the Brahmaputra river is flowing down long mountain range, therefore it carries with it a lot of sediment. So when the plains occur, they basically deposit all the load and it becomes very wide and floods along the banks. And it forms a braided channel or braided drainage system. A braided river is such like in this image. Braided means it is multi-threaded channels, a lot of rivers connect with it and it forms like a braided structure. Brahmaputra has three names: Sangpo in China or Tibet, Brahmaputra in India, and Jamuna in Bangladesh. It is the only river in India which has a male name, which means son of Lord Brahma. Brahmaputra has got several tributaries, but the important ones are Tista, Subansiri, Barali, Manas, and North Dhansiri on the right bank. And on the left bank, it has Buri, Dihang, and South Dhansiri. As it flows along the fertile plains of Assam, Brahmaputra turns southwest and enters Bangladesh, and it forms the delta as it connects with Ganga river. This delta is also called as Sundarbans, and it is the world's largest delta.